This kit can be used with students at any stage during the year to test an individual student's progress. It can also be used for formative assessment to assist in establishing a student's point of need as he or she builds skills to read and comprehend texts. It can be used as a summative assessment to ascertain benchmark data on a student, or it can be used to recommend a placement level of reading.
This video provides instruction on how to take an Engage Literacy Reading Assessment with students. It is essential that teachers are familiar with the Engage Literacy Assessment texts and Reading Assessment recording sheet before using this resource.
In taking a reading assessment, the teacher will need to select a text at an appropriate level for the student, sit next to the student so that the teacher can see the text and observe the student's eye and finger movements as he or she reads the text. Explain to the student that as they read aloud, the teacher will be writing down what they are doing while reading. Read a short introduction of the text to the student and then invite the student to read the text. Mark the record sheet using the appropriate conventions as the student reads the text. Ask the student to pause in order to catch up if the student is reading too fast to accurately record their behavior. Intervene as little as possible and use only the conventions recommended. Ask the student the comprehension questions. Score and analyze the oral reading record and complete the summary of assessment after the student has completed all elements of the reading assessment. Analyze the summary of assessment and plan for future teaching.
This reading assessment model is of a student who is 6 years and 4 months, reading a nonfiction level 12 text, My Day at the Zoo. During this assessment, you will notice he reads with 93.7% accuracy, which is at the instructional reading level. In reviewing the miscue behavior, he uses meaning and structural information at error, and visual information when self-correcting. His comprehension of the text was very good, but he needs to work on his pace of reading and fluency.
The teacher ensures that the student is at ease and explains what is going to happen and why. During the reading, the teacher records exactly what is read on the assessment sheet. There is a start time and end time on the oral reading record, but this is optional.
Today I went to the zoo with my family. We had to buy 4 sticks at the Great. I was happy to be going to the zoo with my family. First, we saw the monkeys. One of them monkeys had a black head and a long grey tail. The monkeys went in and out of the trees. Lots of monkeys went from tree to tree. Next, we went to see the seals. They lived in a big pool. The seals can swim very fast, then swim around and around the big pool. It was fun to see the seals. Elephants. We saw the small. We went to see the elephants. I liked the elephants best of all. The elephants have long tails that got from smart to see said, "We saw a baby elephant with its mother."
The teacher now asks the student the comprehension questions and checks off the responses with either a tick if the response was appropriate or records word for word an inappropriate response.
The purpose of analyzing the recorded information is to review the student's reading behaviors, to provide comprehensive information, and to determine next steps to take for purposeful teaching. First, the teacher calculates the number of errors and self-corrections, recording these in the errors or self-corrections columns in the oral reading record. Then the teacher totals the errors and self-corrections and records these in the totals column on page 2. The teacher calculates the accuracy rate and converts this to a percentage. This is recorded in the Summary of Assessment section on page 1. Each of the reading assessment sheets contains an accuracy table which has pre-calculated error totals to provide a quick check for teachers to show where the student is after the assessment and confirms whether the text is hard, instructional, or independent for that reading assessment. The teacher now calculates the self-correction rate and records it in the Summary of Assessment section of page 1. The teacher interprets the miscue behaviors by circling the meaning, structure, or visual sources of information. Then the teacher records the total miscues in the totals column. Now the teacher analyzes the fluency score and circles the appropriate number in the fluency score table. This score is then recorded in the Summary of Assessment section of page 1. In the Comprehension section, the teacher marks the responses using the key as a guide. The scores for each question type are circled in the Comprehension score table below the questions. These scores are again then transferred to the Summary of Assessment table on page 1. Finally, the teacher writes a summary statement of the reading assessment in the Teacher's Notes section at the end of the assessment sheet. This is important, as it allows the teacher to plan the next steps to take for purposeful teaching.
Oral reading records always apply an accepted convention for recording and scoring the assessment. Each recording procedure is explained in the following slides. Mark every word that is read correctly with a tick. This example shows that the student read every word correctly.
The boy would go down.
Record precisely the student's incorrect responses above the text. This example shows one error. The student read, "We had to buy 4 sticks." Correct text was tickets.
We had to buy 4 sticks at the.
If the student is successful in correcting a previous error, it is recorded as a self-correction and is written as SC on the reading assessment sheet.
One day, some old woman came down to the river to do their washing.
Sometimes the student may omit a word. The example shows that the student has omitted the word "my." This is recorded as an error. When a student stops reading and does not continue, it may be because he or she has made an error and cannot correct it, or because he or she is unable to read the next word. The teacher can tell the student the word after a 3-second wait. This maintains the storyline and helps the student to keep reading. It is recorded as T and indicates that the student has been told the word.
Today I went to the zoo with my family. We had to buy 4
You try. Tickets.
Tickets at the gates.